Namaskar everybody and welcome to the Navaratri satsang. Let us start with the prarthana. By the Guru's grace and the will of Sri Krishna, we have all assembled for this Navaratri satsang. May we have their guidance to be able to learn and adopt the teachings from the lives of our great acharyas to progress on the path of our sadhana. Let us recite the Guru Parampara. Lakshmi Natha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्. Let us offer salutations to Swami Ramanuja. Yo nityamachyutapadaambujayugmarugma व्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धो Ramanujasya charanam sharanam prapadye. So with prayers to the acharyas and to Ramanuja, let us start our topic for today. So today we are going to be seeing about yet another great personality in the Acharya Guru Parampara. So this person's name was Mudhaliyandan. So let us begin by offering our prayers to him. Paduke yati rajasya kathayanti yadhakyaya tasya dasharathe padau shirasa dharayamyaham. I adorn my head, that means I offer obeisance, with the holy feet of Dasharathi, who is considered by Purvacharyas as the padukas of Yatiraja. As we know, Yatiraja is yet another name for Swami Ramanuja. He is the Raja, he is the king among the Yatis. The word Yati means a sannyasi. So somebody who is the greatest among all the sannyasis is called Yatiraja, and that is the name given to Swami Ramanuja. So this person, Mudhaliyandan, was referred to by all the acharyas as the paduka of Swami Ramanuja. His actual given name was Dasharathi. Now we will see. He was born in 1027 at a place called Petai near Kanchi to Ananda Dikshitar and Nachiyaraman. Now this Nachiyaraman was the sister of Ramanujacharya. So Dasharathi was actually the nephew of Ramanuja. Ramanujacharya was the mama for this Dasharathi. So when he was born in the Punarvasu Nakshatra, and therefore his father named him as Dasharathi. As we know, during the Chitre month on Punarvasu Nakshatra day, Lord Rama was born. So, assuming that this child is going to be just like Rama, the father named him as Dasharathi. Now here when they explain this, the acharyas and all the commentators have a very beautiful thought that they share. And they say that this Dasharathi, this Mudhaliyandan was actually an amsha of Rama himself. Why do they say that? Now, we know that during Rama Avatara, Lakshmana was born as the amsha, as the avatar of Adishesha, the serpent on whom the Lord rests, the serpent who does all kinds of service to the Lord. So, Lakshmana was an avatar of Adishesha, and Lakshmana performed all kinds of service to Lord Rama, isn't it? So Lord Rama was very much, happy with the kind of service that Lakshmana did to him at all times. And especially when they went to Vanavasa, then without sleeping even a moment, Lakshmana rendered service like that. So Rama was very happy and he wanted that I should repay this kindness, this seva which Lakshmana has done to me, I should repay it to him in my other avatars. So the next avatara which came was Krishna avatara. So in that avatara, what Lord Vishnu, what Sriman Narayana did was, when he incarnated as Krishna, he made Adishesha as the elder brother, as Balarama. So Balarama is an avatar of Adishesha. So in that relationship, when Krishna is the younger brother, there was an opportunity to do seva. But still, we don't find any such great incidents narrated where Krishna has rendered service to the brother. They were very close and they were very affectionate to each other, and all that is there. But there were no exactly opportunities for seva. So still that Lord's desire was not fulfilled. And that is why when he next took Avatara, Adishesha's next avatara was in Kali Yuga when he was sent by the Lord to reform people. And that avatara was that of Swami Ramanuja. So Ramanuja is considered as an avatar of Adishesha. So when Ramanuja was on this earth, then the Lord himself, Rama himself, Lord Sriman Narayana himself took avatara so that he could do service to Ramanuja. And that was this person called as Dasharathi, the nephew of Swami Ramanuja. Now he is also called as the paduka of Swami Ramanuja, and he is also known as the tridanda of Swami Ramanuja. We will come to these aspects further. This thing about the tridanda, and there is a actual shloka which is telling about its importance. What we will do is, because we have a lot of things to cover, I will go ahead, and later, when if we have enough time, we will come back to this. But I think you are aware, you must have seen in the hands of all the yatis, all the sannyasis, there will be a danda which they hold. Now, in the Advaita philosophy, they will have only one single danda, because in their philosophy, they say that everything is one, everything is only Paramatma. There is nothing else, there is no one else other than the Paramatma. That is their interpretation of the Vedas. So they have Ekadanda. But in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, in the Vishishtadvaita philosophy, there are three tattvas which are there. We call them as Chit, Achit, and Ishvara. The soul, the Jivatma, the insentient, the all the other things which are without jnana, those, and Lord, Ishvara. So these three tattvas are there. So to symbolize that there are three tattvas, our sannyasis have a tridanda, which is made up of three separate units joined together. Three bamboo sticks are joined together and they are tied together to indicate that these are the three tattvas. Then there is also a flag, like a piece of white cloth, which is attached to the end of that danda. That is called as the pavitram. So Ramanuja was so fond of this Dasharathi that he always, see, a sannyasi is never supposed to be without that tridanda in his hand, right? So always he was holding on to the tridanda. So like that, he had so much affection towards this Dasharathi. Now, at the time when Ramanuja took sannyasa in Kanchipuram, before he had to get into the sampradaya, at that point of time, it is told that when a sannyasi, when somebody has to take up sannyasa, they have to dip, submerge their head thrice in the river, in the water. And each time they have to say, I give up everything in this world. I give up everything in this world. I renounce everything in this world. Like that, they have to declare when they are taking a dip in the holy water. So when Swami Ramanuja was doing this, at that time, very notably, he said, I give up everything in this world except my nephew Dasharathi. I give up everything in this world except my nephew Dasharathi. Like that, he repeated 3 times. And everybody around was shocked. They said, what is this? You can't make, if the rules are saying that you have to give up everything, then you have to give up everything. Why are you adding this disclaimer, this caveat that I am giving up everything except Dasharathi? So then the Lord explained that what is the purpose of, then Swami Ramanuja explained that what is the purpose of giving up, of saying I give up all these things in the world. The meaning is that we have to give up all those things which are going to pull us into samsara, and we don't have to give up those things which are going to take us towards God. So I am very sure that my association with Dasharathi, with Mudhaliyandan, is going to only take me further in my journey towards the Lord and not pull me into samsara. So except this nephew of mine, I am giving up everything else. That was the great, affection and love that Ramanuja had for Dasharathi. In fact, he was the acharya for Dasharathi. He taught him everything, and all the Shastras, everything was taught by him to Dasharathi. And later, when the time came, when Ramanujacharya was setting right the affairs of the Srirangam temple, and he was setting up the administrative, roles correctly, because there were a lot of things which were astavyasta, they were not proper. So he had to set order. And at that time, it was this Dasharathi who helped him. He had a great skill for management, for administration. And therefore, he was called as, that is why he got this name as Mudhaliyandan, the leader. Mudal means the one who is foremost, the leader among all the Sri Vaishnavas. So he got this name as Mudhaliyandan. In fact, when we talked about Kuratalvan and Swami Ramanuja, we said that they went to Kashmir to get that Bodhayana Vritti. At that time, when Swami Ramanuja went away, all the management of the temple and everything happening there was left in the able hands of Mudhaliyandan. Now, in fact, it is told, see, Kuratalvan, okay, now I told that this Tridanda is having this Pavitra, the flag-like cloth, which is there at the edge. Now, everybody says, it was told by all the acharyas that Kuratalvan was like that Pavitra and Mudhaliyandan was like the Tridanda. So, both of them were extremely close Shishyas of Swami Ramanuja. But it is said that Kuratalvan used to sometimes express, that oh, I don't have the fortune of Mudhaliyandan. So somebody asked him, why do you say this? You are also equally dear to Acharya. Why are you saying this? So he said, no, I am jealous of him, of Mudhaliyandan, because I am having only Atma Sambandha with Acharya. But Mudhaliyandan has Sharira Sambandha as well as Atma Sambandha. He is physically also he is related. He has this bodily relationship that he is the nephew of the Acharya, and that is why he is far more dear to Acharya than to me. It is said like that. Now, when we talked about how Swami Ramanuja went to Tirukoštiyur Nambi and that Acharya made him travel 18 times before agreeing to give him mantropadesha. So finally, when he agreed to give the mantropadesha to Ramanuja, he told him, Tirukoštiyur Nambi told him that you should come alone tomorrow morning. Don't bring anybody with you. You have to come alone. So Ramanuja said, okay. The next morning when he went, but he didn't go alone. He took Mudhaliyandan and he took Kuratalvan, both of them with him, and went and fell at the feet of Tirukoštiyur Nambi. So the Acharya asked him that, I told you to come alone. Why have you brought these two people along with you? Didn't you understand what I said? So Swami Ramanuja very humbly said, I know you told me to come alone, and because I am a yati, because I am a sannyasi, I should always have my tridanda with me and my pavitra with me. This Dasharati, this Mudhaliyandan is like my tridanda and Kuratalvan is my pavitram. So I have to go everywhere with them, and that is why I have brought them. And Tirukoštiyur Nambi was very pleased with this reply, and he did mantropadesha to them. So there was one particular mantra which he did upadesha to all three of them. However, there was another mantra which is called as the Charama Shloka in our Sampradaya. So to get that Upadesha, this Tirukoštiyur Nambi said that I will give that Upadesha to you, Ramanuja, and you can teach it to Kuratalvan. But I will not be able to give it to Dasharati. Okay, we don't know what was there in his mind, but he told like that. So Dasharati was very disappointed. And then he asked Swami Ramanuja that what shall I do? How can I also get that Upadesha? So Swami Ramanuja told him, you stay here, you stay with Tirukoštiyur Nambi and you do intense seva to him. And then when he is pleased with your seva, he will give you also the Upadesha. So Dasharati stayed there and he rendered service for about 6 months. Then finally one day, Tirukoštiyur Nambi called him and he said, I am very pleased with the service which you have given, but I am not going to give you the Upadesha of the Charama Shloka. You go to Ramanuja, go to your own Acharya and you get it. So then Mudhaliyandan traveled from this Tirukoštiyur place to Srirangam and he fell at the feet of Ramanuja and conveyed that this is what he told me. So Ramanuja said, yes, now he is pleased that you have got all the qualities. Now that you have all the qualities which are required to be there in a disciple, now I can give you the Upadesha. And he gave him that Mantropadesha. So this was the level of seva bhav that he developed in him by rendering service to Tirukoštiyur Nambi. Now we will see in this next incident that when we talk about, we'll come to know how great was this bhava that Mudhaliyandan had developed. See, actually what happens is many times when, although we may be shishyas, we may be doing sadhana, we may be going ahead on the spiritual path, yet it is very difficult to give up our sense of identity and to say that I am nothing, but I am, constantly dependent only on my Acharya and on the Lord. And that I don't have any identity of mine. To reach that state is very difficult. But that is what this Mudhaliyandan managed to achieve during all those years when he stayed with Ramanuja. Now, you remember we talked about Swami Ramanuja's Acharya called Periyanambi. And in mentioning about him, I said that he had a daughter called Attulai who got married and was sent to her in-laws' house. After marriage, that it was a custom in those times that when a girl gets married, then there is somebody who is sent like an assistant, somebody who is like a servant to help that girl in her mother-in-law's house. So that person is referred to as Stridhana Vellati. So what happened is nobody was sent with this Atulai. So this Atulai went to her in-laws house, and then she was not so old. I mean, she was a young girl, small girl, and she had to do all the housework. And in those times the norm was that they would have to get up very early in the morning before the sun rises, take all the vessels, take all the clothes to the lake or the river nearby, clean all that, have their bath, and come back. So because she was a small girl, she would find it difficult to do all that. First of all, the work was more, and also she was scared of the dark. So what she did was, after doing that for 1 or 2 days, she told her mother-in-law that I am scared. I don't want to go alone. Can you arrange somebody to come with me? Can you come with me, or can somebody else? Can you tell someone to come along with me? She asked. That mother-in-law very sarcastically said, why are you asking me all these things? Your father should have sent along with you this Sridhana Vellati. He should have sent some servant along with you, and that girl would have helped you. Why are you asking me? You go and ask your father only, she said very angrily. So this poor girl, crying, she went to her father. Her father was Periyanambi. She went to him. Her father is lost in his own vairagya, right? So he told her, see, I can do nothing about your problem. Whatever it is, for you, the Acharya is Ramanuja. So you have to ask him only for the solution. Once you are under him, then there is nothing that I can do for you. You have to go and ask Ramanuja himself. So she went. There was a big sabha going on. Swami Ramanuja was giving a pravachana, and there were so many people there and all that. Then at that time, this Atulai went there and she was crying. So Ramanuja saw her and he called her and asked that what happened? Why are you so sad? How are things in your in-laws' place? Have you been serving them diligently? What is the matter? Why are you looking so sad and crying? So she explained all these things that had happened, and she said, they told me that I have to bring somebody along from my father's house, and my father has washed his hands off and he's telling me to ask you. So what will I do? You only have to help me, she begged him. So Swami Ramanuja looked around. There were all so many shishyas of his, right? There were so many shishyas of his sitting there. He looked all around and his eyes fell on Mudhaliyandan. By then, already this Mudhaliyandan had a very great sthana as the paduka of Ramanuja, as the tridanda of Ramanuja. He was recognized for his scholarly quality, for his panditya. He was recognized as having lot of acharya bhakti, everything. He was in a very high position, and he was managing the affairs of the Sri Rangam temple. He was in such an exalted state. Swami Ramanuja looks at him and tells him that you go along with her. And he tells the girl that Mudhaliyandan will come along with you. That girl is shocked. She says, how can I take him? He is such a great person. How can I take him along with me as an assistant? Swami Ramanuja said, no problem. You should not be bothered about the state of this person. You only want somebody to come as an assistant, isn't it? So you take him and go. And Mudhaliyandan, without another word, without turning back, he just said, Dhanyosmi to Swami Ramanuja. I am grateful to you, he said. And he walked behind this girl. And as they were walking and going, he didn't talk of great jnana things and great Vedanta and all that. Just as somebody would talk to a young girl, a young child, he just kept talking to her throughout the way like that. And only thing he told her is, see, when you go to your in-laws' place now, when we reach there and they ask who I am, you should just say that I am somebody who has been sent as the Sridhana Vellati. You should say that I am the assistant your father has sent. That's all. You are not supposed to tell them anything about who sent me and what is my position there and all those things. You just forget all that. Don't talk about that at all. That was the only warning he gave her. So she also told the same thing and she kept quiet. Now every day this Mudhaliyandan used to go along with her to the river before sunrise, help her with all the housework, help her to wash the clothes, help her to wash the vessels, help her to carry drinking water from the river to the house, make multiple trips again and again. And then with other time when he would do his achara, his anushtanas, everything, his sandhya vandana, his study, remembering dhyana, remembering the Lord, remembering his acharya. All he kept doing Just like that, time flew by. After a few months, one day it so happened that he was sitting on the platform outside the house, and there were some other scholars who had come there, and all of them, the people in this house, in this Atulai's house, and those scholars who had come from somewhere, they were talking and discussing about some aspect of, how a Sri Vaishnava should be, what is the worship that is to be done, and something, some Sri Suktis from the Alvar's works, what they have sung, and all that. So at that time, and also some things from the Vedas and other things, they were discussing some scholarly things. At that time, what one of them said, there was some mistake in that. There was some grave mistake in that. And this Mudhaliyandan was sitting in one corner there. He could not help hearing this discussion. And because he was so well versed with all the Shastras, he knew that what they are telling is a ghor wrong thing. So, with very great humility, he said, please, if I may be permitted, I want to say a few words. And he explained how the concept that they were talking about, they had not understood it correctly, and what was the right way to understand it. So those people sitting there, they felt very affronted. They said, who are you? What do you think of yourself? You are, after all, just an assistant who has come. You are pretending to be very scholarly. What is this? Then he said, he again tried to explain to them that what he was telling. And finally, there was someone who realized that what he is telling is true. So then they asked him, who are you? How do you know all these sukshma concepts? How do you know all these tattvas? Who are you? What is your real identity? And then he told them, he said, I am Mudhaliyandan. I am the nephew of Swami Ramanuja. I am the person who is considered his tridanda. And like that, very humbly, he told them. And then they all rushed, that full family, all those scholars, that Atulai's mother-in-law, husband, everybody rushed and fell at the feet of Swami Ramanuja. They all went to Ramanujacharya. They fell at his feet and they said, please forgive us, please forgive us. This great apachara we have done. We have insulted a Parama Bhagavata. We have insulted your Shishya by making him work like an assistant and by saying, insulting things to him. Please forgive us, they said. All this time, this Mudhaliyandan has absolutely no problem. He is just calmly watching whatever is going on. And then Swami Ramanuja said, it's okay, you did not know his identity. Anyway, but this is what you should learn now. How should you treat a girl when she comes to your house, newly married? You should be support to her. You should not try to find fault with her. You should not be sarcastic and make insulting comments. Anyway, you have learned your lesson. So now you can go. And they went back, and Mudhaliyandan came back to live with Swami Ramanuja. Can we even imagine the greatness of a person who is so exalted in position but is so humble at heart? That is something that we must learn from him. Now, coming to the next episode, which shows us his greatness. When Swami Ramanuja came to Melkote, and he traveled, he migrated from Srirangam because, as we said already, there was a trouble caused by that Shaiva king and all that, and Kuratalvan went there and lost his eyesight. We know about that episode. So in the meantime, Swami Ramanuja and Mudhaliyandan came along with him. They came to Karnataka, and when they were in the region near Melkote somewhere, at that place, what happened is there were a lot of Jain people there, people who were following the Jain philosophy. Now, many people misunderstand and they think that Jainism is very much like Hinduism. But in reality, certain things may be common, like the concept of ahimsa and all that. But Jain and Buddha, these are two panthas, they are two religious practices, folds, which do not accept the authority of the Vedas. So they are Nastikavada, right? So they are actually, and there were some people there who were very opposed because they found that Ramanujacharya is coming and he is bringing some new philosophy along with him. So all these people were very opposed to him. Now it is the norm that in any place when there is some great acharya who comes, then people should go and offer their obeisance to him, and they should inquire about his well-being, and they should provide services to him. That is the norm in Sanatan Dharma. But these people were very, not only they were wary about him, but they were actively disliking the presence of Ramanuja and his disciples there. So Swami Ramanuja came to know that there has to be something has to be done to change this situation. And he wanted that all of them should become Sri Vaishnavas. They should start following Astikavada. They should learn about the glory of the Lord. And through that practice of bhakti towards the Lord, they should go ahead in their sadhana. Because being in Nastikvada was taking them nowhere. So what he did was, he called Mudhaliyandan and he told him, there was a river in that place, and the Kaveri river, in fact. So he brought Mudhaliyandan there at upstream, at one point upstream of the river, where like everybody was using the river water in one particular place. And upstream of that, he called Mudhaliyandan and he said, see, I want you to do one thing. You put your feet into the water here. You stand in the river, dipping your feet in the water here for some time. So Mudhaliyandan did as he was told. And when he did that, that water flowed downstream, and all the people downstream were using that water. They bathed, they washed their clothes, they carried it for drinking water, they did all that. And that had the, what you say, Padarenu, the dust from the holy feet of Mudhaliyandan. And it was noticed that this happened one day, and that very day, after a few hours, everybody in that place, they came, they fell at the feet of Swami Ramanuja and they said, please accept us as your disciples. We want to follow your path. And they came into the Sri Vaishnava fold. So this conversion of people from the atheistic philosophy to the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya happened because they came in contact with the Sripada Tirtha of Mudhaliyandan. So he was such a great devotee, he was such a great Bhagavata, that by coming to contact with the water that had touched his holy feet, they were able to see the light of what should be their role. So that is another greatness, another event which shows us the greatness of Mudhaliyandan. Now, Swami Ramanuja was in Karnataka. At that time, as I already said, this Mudhaliyandan had great capabilities administratively to organize things and all that. So using the services of Mudhaliyandan, Swami Ramanuja established what are called as these Panchanarayana temples. And you can see I've arranged them in a clockwise manner. The first temple which we see on the screen on the right side is the Veera Vishnu Narayana temple at Belur. Then we have the Kirti Vishnu Narayana temple which is at Talkad. Then we have the Nambi Narayana temple which is at Tondanur. And we have the Vijaya Vishnu Narayana temple which is in Gadag. And then we have our Melkote Cheluva Vishnu Narayana temple. So all these temples, they are called together as the Panchanarayana Kshetra or the Panchanarayana temples. They were established by the active work of Mudhaliyandan. So we must be grateful to Mudhaliyandan that he's set up all these temples to be able to give us the opportunity of having darshan and seva of the Lord there. Okay. Now, once what happened, we'll see another incident where we can learn about the broad-mindedness of this Mudhaliyandan. So what happened once was, there was, you remember we talked about this Embar Swami. He was also living around the same time. And we said that he was a Shishya of Swami Ramanuja, right? Now, one day one man came to him, one Sri Vaishnava man came to him and he said that, Swami, I want to offer service to you. I will spend my time in doing seva to you. So this Embar said, okay, fine. Now, normally, whoever the acharyas in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, they will not accept services from anybody who has not undergone the initiation into the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Now, here, it is not the caste of the person that matters. You may belong to any caste, you may belong to any gender, you may belong to any age. But if you've undergone the Pancha Samskara right, then you are given the, privilege of offering seva to the acharyas. So, when this man came, now Embar Swami was not sure that is this person initiated or not. So what he did was, he initiated him. He did Pancha Samskara for him. And that person also didn't say anything. He just agreed and he underwent that ritual. And then he started doing service to Embar Swami. Now, after some months, this Embar Swami came to know that Mudhaliyandan, who had gone out of that place, had come back to Sri Rangam. And he saw this person who was serving him going and also offering service to Mudhaliyandan. So he asked him that, how do you know Mudhaliyandan? So he said, no, I was his Shishya because he was not there in town and there was no service for me. So I came to know. So Embar Swami was really, shocked because normally somebody is supposed to undergo that initiation ritual only once. So he felt very bad and he was worried about what Mudhaliyandan would think if he came to know that Embar had also done Pancha Samskara to him. So he ran and he, fell at the feet of Mudhaliyandan and said that, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize that this man had already got initiation from you. So I again gave him the initiation and then he was serving me, and please don't take it wrongly. I didn't know that he was already initiated. So at that time, with such a greatness of heart, Mudhaliyandan told Embar Swami, he said, see, when somebody falls in a well, it is better that two people should try to pull him up, isn't it? One person can try to lift him, but it will be a struggle. But if two people together try to lift him up, it is going to be far easier. And that person has a better chance of getting out of that well. Similarly, any Jivatma, any person who is struggling in samsara, if he has two acharyas to lift him up, isn't that a far better situation? Why are you feeling bad for that? It is good that we have both of us are there now to make sure that he comes out of this well of samsara. That was the great heartedness, that was the broad mindedness of Mudhaliyandan. Then another example that was quoted by Mudhaliyandan and which was explained by Swami Vedanta Deshikar in a grantha called as Rahasya Trayasaram. In that, the concept of hanging on to an acharya is explained by Mudhaliyandan, and that example is quoted by Swami Vedanta Deshikar. So once there is a story which he told that once there was an insect. Okay, there were two insects and they were talking to each other. And one insect said that, see, what I'm going to do, we are now on this hill, and I'm going to go and jump to the other hill. So this other insect laughed at him and said that, what nonsense are you talking? You are just an insect. By the time you crawl a few feet, your life only will be over. Where are you going to jump from this hill and go cross to the other hill? How is it going to be possible for you? It won't be, it is impossible, he said. That insect told him, no, you just wait and see. I will do it. You just wait and see. And the next moment, there was a lion that came there. So this insect, which had set the challenge, it climbed and hid itself. It caught on to the tail of the lion. Now, the very next minute, that lion leaped and jumped and went from this to the top of this hill and jumped to the other hill. And from there, that insect called out to this little insect, which was left behind, and said, see, didn't I tell you that I'm going to jump? I don't have to jump on my own. If I hang on to somebody who is able to jump, then I will also travel that distance. So, Mudhaliyandan explains this, saying that we individually are not having the ability to go beyond this janma, to go to moksha, to go to Sri Vaikuntham. But who can go? Our Acharya, Bhashyakara, Ramanujacharya, he has that ability. So when the lion jumps from one hill to another hill, that insect which is hanging on to the lion also gets transported. Similarly, because Ramanujacharya can leap over this cycle of birth and death, and we have a connection with him, we will also be saved from this cycle. We will also get moksha. That was the level of Acharya Pratipatti, the level of Acharya Nishtha that Mudhaliyandan had. And that is explained in this incident. Okay, we have about 5 minutes left. So I will just quickly go back to this thing that I said I will talk about, right? Now, when I told about how when Swami Ramanuja came to Karnataka and those Jains were opposing them and all that, then at that time there was an incident actually that happened. There was a king there, that Jain king called Bitti Deva. And that Bitti Deva was strong follower of Jain philosophy. Now, unfortunately, what happened is his daughter was possessed by an evil spirit and it was refusing to let go. So then somebody suggested, one of the Shishyas of Ramanuja from that place only, who had become a Shishya there, he went and told the king that our Acharya is so great and definitely he will be able to drive away this evil spirit which has possessed your daughter. So you please invite him and he will do what has to be done. So the king was not very willing, but he had run out of options. So he called Swami Ramanuja. As soon as Swami Ramanuja came there, that spirit by itself left that girl and went away. He put little of his Shripad Tirtha on that child and offered little turmeric paste which had been given to him to that child. And immediately that evil spirit went away. So everybody was very happy and they were, wonderstruck at the miracle that Ramanujacharya had done. And then the king was so happy and he was so taken aback by this, and he was so grateful to Ramanujacharya that immediately he said, I, my queen, my whole family, and all my people in this kingdom, we will all become bhaktas of Swami Shri, of you. We will become your shishyas, and we will be bhaktas of Sriman Narayana. So Ramanuja was very happy, and they gave them initiation. Now, what happened is there were, however, some few Jain people who were very unhappy with this turn of events, and they thought that their king should not have capitulated like that. So they said, they went to the king and they said, why did you do all this? How can you give in to him? Do you know anything about his philosophy? Without even knowing what is his philosophy and all that, how can you just get converted like that? So then it was decided that there will be a debate. So that debate was held, and there were 1,000 Jain monks who gathered in one place near Melkote. And on the other hand was Swami Ramanuja. And those 1,000 Jain monks were to ask questions about the philosophy on different philosophical aspects, and Swami Ramanuja was to answer those questions. So what he did was he asked that let them put up a curtain, a screen between all those Jain monks and me, so that they don't look at me directly. So he was enclosed within a screen, and all outside that screen, the 1,000 Jain monks were sitting. And at that time, Swami Ramanuja answered all the 1,000 questions that were thrown at him. The 1,000 questions were thrown simultaneously at him, and he answered them at one shot. And one of those Jains, he wanted to see how is this person answering all this together simultaneously? How is he giving the answers to our questions? And he just went and peeped behind that screen, and he was shocked at the sight that he saw. He saw the form of Adishesha with his 1,000 hooves and 1,000 mouths, and from each mouth, one answer was coming to each of the questions of the Jain monks. And seeing that, he fainted, and he told that to all his other people. And then they were all subjugated. They were totally ready then to accept that. And they didn't have any answer to the answers which Ramanuja gave in the debate. So then they accepted that indeed Swami Ramanuja is an avatara of Adishesha, and the philosophy that he's telling, the concepts that he's explaining are truly the right way to go ahead on the sadhana marga. So then they accepted him, and that is how he won over all those people. So there are so many different philosophies all over the country which were subjugated by the dedication of Swami Ramanuja. The skill with which he debated with them and presented all the concepts, the answers to all the concepts which are there in the Vedas, the Upanishads, that won over everybody. And it is said that that tridanda in the hands of Swami Ramanujacharya is what gives all these things. So there is one stotra which is made up of 5 shlokas called Dhati Panchakam, which was composed. Now it is not clear whether it was composed by Kuratalvan alone or by Kuratalvan, Mudhaliyandan, and many others. But in that, in the 3rd shloka, there is one very nice concept that is explained. So it says, Charitrodhara Dandam, Chaturanaya Pathalankriya Ketu Dandam, Sadvidya Deepa Dandam, Sakala Kalikatha Samhrite Kala Dandam, Trayanta Dandam, Tribhuvana Vijaya Chhatra Sauvarna Dandam, Dhatte Ramanujarya Pratikataka Shiro Vajradandam Tridandam. So the great preceptor wields that danda, and it touches the disciples and gives them all the good observances, good character. It gives them logical integrity. It is like the lamp pole which opens up all the esoteric knowledge of the Vedas. It is the weapon which drives away the falsehoods. It explains the Vedanta spirit that people misinterpret in a wrong way. And it is the head, the stick, the danda which comes down over the head of people involved in futile debate. So that is the greatness of Swami Ramanuja's Tridanda. And who was this Tridanda? Mudhaliyandan, whom we have spoken about today. So we are running out of time. It's going to end just any moment. So let us offer Kritagnyata for the great Acharya Parampara, the commentators, and to Sri Krishna and Guru.